menu. You can always, for this smaller group, you can interject or raise your hand and I'll try to call attention to it and make sure I catch you. If you would, to minimize any background noise, if you would stay muted when you're not speaking, that'll help ensure that the speakers, presenters, and everything else can go off as smooth as possible. In the event we ever do have a vote, when those items come up after presentations, at that point in time, you can unmute your microphone, or if we do a roll call vote, we'll call on you specifically at that time. If you do run into any kind of internet issues on that, you can turn off the camera, turn off other programs, or do a direct connect rather than Wi-Fi. The last thing is just reminding everybody that even though we are a virtual meeting, it is open to the public. And so all the open meeting laws that we normally have to abide by, including limitations on discussion to those items just on the agenda, those are all in force. So with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'm going to do a quick roll call on this. From the PAG side of the house, from my team on this side, I've got Crystal, Sonia, Jeff, Carolyn, Gabe, Josh, James, and Ryan. Guys, thanks for all coming. Appreciate the support on this. Then from the actual committee members, I've got Dion, Lauren, Francisco, Jay Gomes, Yao, GJ, Marina, Paul Burton, and Jeff King. Is there anybody I missed, didn't call out, and need to make note of?
Cheryl Healy.
Cheryl, you are here.
Saroja Devarkunda from ADOT.
Saroja, good to see you, Saroja. ADOT. Okay, got it. Anybody else? Okay. Let's see the in-kind reporting. As you know, our regional planning efforts are enhanced by recording the time donated by the attendees. PAG collects all this information on meetings, activities, and then we can apply for matching funds from grants, federal dollars. So if there is anybody that is paid for on this activity out of federal dollars, please speak up now. Okay, hearing none. As you know, and as we've mentioned before, any of the time that's spent devoted on this will just be estimated by us here at the staff level and then applied appropriately. And so we have that matching in-kind effort. That's a program we're allowed to use and works real well for us. So Crystal, you can go to the next one. Safety activities. Gabe, the floor is yours. What do you got for a quick update on what we've got, where we're at, and what we got going?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it brief. I know we are limited on time given the other content. Just let everybody know we've completed 3 road safety assessments so far this year. Western Way for Pima County, Grant UP, a design RSA for the city and RTA, and then Golf Links and Pantano for the city. On deck, we have a design RSA for Tangerine Design Stage 2A. Stone Avenue, South 6th, and one this fall for Gladden Farms in Marana. Does anybody have any questions on road safety assessment efforts or activities? Okay, hearing none, moving on to HSIP. HSIP call for projects. As you are probably well aware, we're in the middle of the call for projects. We as a region have submitted draft applications for comment from ADOT. Those comments are going to be coming. They changed the date that they were going to submit those comments back to us, and now it's July 29, if not sooner. So I'll be sharing those with the group, of course, as we get closer. We did have a really strong collective package that we submitted, 16.6 million in total applications. That includes 5 packages from the city of Tucson, 1 package from Oro Valley, and 2 applications from Pima County. Any questions on HSIP, call for projects? Great. The only other couple things I wanted to bring to the group's attention, I'm going to be sending out an email to, if in case you missed it, there's going to be a Safe Streets for All, the SS4A, quote unquote, conversation with ITE leadership. It's going to be discussion to sort of discuss what is the program, where are the areas of infrastructure investment and planning, investment that they're looking to do as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law. That's taking place this next Wednesday, July 20. Again, I'll be sending something out to the group, so please attend that as you will. The only other thing I wanted to bring to everyone's attention was, it's a little late now, but it's been a couple months, but we haven't met in a while. It's just to make sure everyone saw that there's a crash modification factor research has been performed by FHWA for corner turning radius, right turn speed, and the prediction of pedestrian crashes at signalized intersections. It's a very interesting read. I will send that out to the group as well. So any questions for me on anything?
I was gonna say any questions, extra comments?
All right, that's it for me, Rick.
Yeah, hey, Rick and Gabe, Jay Gomes
Yep,
here.
go for it, Jay.
Just wanted to let you guys know that if you wanted me to take a look at your HSIP applications, I'd be more than happy to do so. There have been several agencies within my region, Southern Arizona. They're not CA agencies, so they asked. And that just kind of helps assist them through the finalizing process with Mona and Larry. So
No, fantastic.
yeah,
Appreciate the offer, Jay.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, Jay. We'll loop you in.
thank you.
That's it for me, Rick.
Fantastic. Any other questions for Gabe? Okay, good to hear on that effort going forward. Quick item, just a quick update on regional safety coordination. This was just simple. You remember from the last, going back several meetings ago, this was an effort that was requested out of the TPC group. They'd wanted more of a deep dive analysis into a number of the increasing safety issues, why performance targets weren't being met. We've been working on that quite a bit on this end. We got to a point on it, and then in consultation with Josh, his team, we are in the process, Josh, make sure I get this right, of updating the latest crash information into the system as we speak, correct?
We're awaiting the
We're waiting.
the updates from ADOT. Typically they land in July, so once that data comes in, we'll get it loaded in and into the platform, and then we'll start this exercise.
And basically what we'll consist of, the way we had decided to tackle it, is we'll be reaching out to the individual jurisdictions, kind of getting into more of an in-depth one-on-one effort, showing you the updated capabilities, kind of some what-if scenario, which then allows you to generate, go forth, identify potential hotspot areas, trends, patterns, anything like that, that would then come back to the group for suggestions, evaluation, and discussion. So we'll be following up as we get more into that effort. But the biggest thing was, as we came upon the summer months, Josh really had a good point about waiting until the latest and greatest is uploaded. Then we have a much more effective analysis and use on that effort. So we'll be reaching out probably in the upcoming weeks to start scheduling those discussions with you guys. Josh, did that cover everything you and I talked about, or is there anything else I skipped and glossed over you want to hit upon?
Nope.
Perfect.
You got it.
Thank you. Francisco, you had asked for just a second on the agenda to talk about regional max view. So my friend, the floor is yours. What do you got for an update?
Well, with the end of Internet Explorer and Silverlight support, we are moving the Intelight MaxView platform to the new Kinetic platform. So the regional server for signals would be upgraded. The upgrade will transfer all the signals to the new system. Connectivity, if it's through the city currently for your signals, will stay that way, but will be phased so that each jurisdiction handles their own connectivity to the cloud. This would be a cloud system. And so access also is directly from your jurisdiction to the cloud. And that way there won't be any issues having to give you security passwords through the city of Tucson. It'll just be straight out to the cloud. And it should make, first of all, the system usable because Internet Explorer is no longer available in Silverlight. And it should be a higher performance for you to be able to access your signals. That's about it. and it's in the process. It hasn't been started physically. It just is in the process of purchasing the upgrade.
What is your anticipated time frame, if you don't mind me asking?
It's kind of fussy because we lost the personnel that was working at Q3 doing this, moved on. So we are working with a new person and our procurement is working with them. So it should be for sure within the next 6 months, but we want it done in a month or two.
Okay, so
And all the old system will stay online until the other system is complete. We'll be able to move some signals, test it, and then when we feel comfortable, we'll move everything over.
cool.
So Francis, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Just wanted to let Francisco and the group know that, yeah, we're also working with MaxView. I think Bruce Dressel is our main point of contact, and they've been working with the developers to make it more user-friendly and have more information that we're used to seeing, predominantly like on the mapping and layouts. There were some features that we really liked in MaxView that were not in the kinetics, and so they're working on the software side to make sure that happens. Especially with the amount of money we're paying them. I mean, I think we have statewide anyway, like over 600 licenses. So it's like, hey, we just paid you a lot of money, make sure it works the way we want it. And so they're working on that, and pretty much in the same boat as Francisco.
Fantastic. Okay.
Awesome.
Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just so it sounds like this is a cloud version of MaxView from the same vendor, correct?
It looks completely different, like Jay was saying, and it's different access, the way you access it. So it will have an API for data. So that's something we'll have to work with all the agencies that are getting currently data from MaxView. But it's a new platform.
But it's not a new vendor. It's the same vendor with the new offering.
It is the same vendor, correct?
Cool.
With the different.
But everything else is different.
Yes.
Man, cool. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions for Francisco on that? See anything and I don't hear anything. Okay, Francisco, thanks. And I'll stay in touch with you for future meetings, updates, everything else, just to kind of keep it as a standing item on there and make sure we get proper attention on this. So that work okay for you?
That'll work. And I also will be sending emails when stuff happens, with procurement happens, and then we have some more dates of the upgrade.
We'll be providing updates.
Yeah, also, Francisco, I need to get with you offline about our upcoming INET or Ruth Rock project. So this is a reminder and I've noted it, so expect a call. Thanks.
All right.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks, gents. Okay, the main item that we had scheduled this meeting for was the discussion and the updates on the PAG U of A's project, kind of a summary of what's been completed under project 1, and then a update on number 2. So Hinsu, the floor is all yours, my friend, for you and your team. Have at it, take it away, and love to hear what you've got to say.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rick. So let me double check, and it's working. Okay, good afternoon, and committee members, and especially thank you for this opportunity to discuss more detailed stories of PAC's recent accomplishment and their new project with working together with the University of Arizona. And as you know, my name is Hansuno, just in case, and the modeling administrator at PAC. And today I'm going to just present together with Dr. Wu and the UA team PI of this PAC UA project, number 1 and number 2. And so maybe just Dr. Wu, would you address some of a kind of overview or just any comments for this effort and just starting this?
Yeah, thank you, Hyun-Sun. So thank you for everyone. I just want to say thanks for my team, Dr. Xiaofeng Li and another researcher, Pepe Xu. They actually the main researchers for this project. I just coordinate and make sure the project it was successful. So so unfortunately Xiaofeng's daughter is sick, so he cannot be here today. So we did a lot of work with PAC and with the Hyunsun's team. One thing I want to highlight is that it was a partnership between PAC and U of A. So I feel like Dr. No actually did more work than me. So he deserves a lot of credit. So this project, we talk about the overview of what we were going to do, and now I'm so excited that project 1 already finished. So we already accomplished a lot of work. Hyunsun, Dr. No gonna talk about the project 1 and a lot of things we achieved together. And I will be talking about the scope of project 2, which is currently being done. So we'll explain to you the whole committee, the whole team, what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna turn the floor to Dr. No to talk about the project 1. Thank you, Dr. No.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wu. And so here's the agenda, relatively simple, like just Dr. Wu mentioned, and we're gonna just discuss about the project number 1 and project number 2. So I'm sorry, just that it was just some kind of just the animation error, but yeah. So as I discussed a little bit times and about just PAC's initiatives, and as you know, PAC and RTA is responsible for improving just our regional transportation system, and also following just the federal and requirements and the guidelines, and such as the traffic count program and for HPMS update, as well as PAC is also interested in the statistical and the ITS for better planning initiatives as a fulfilling the role of as an MPO. And on the other hand, and our jurisdictional partners in the UR really good at and try to maintain the current traffic operation system and mitigate the traffic congestion. So also just using and a lot of different sources of the traffic monitoring system, and including video cameras and loop detectors, and plus nowadays and using more crowdsourced data, and which is quite as popular and easily accessible and also convenient to monitor in the current in the transportation system. So as expecting and mutual benefit between and our jurisdictional partners and the agencies and the PEC and RTA. So also working together with the university team, and we initiate this project and a couple of years ago, and also just hoping to have some just a great synergy and together, and which is mainly this project number 1 is mainly targeting for and the region-wide traffic volume data estimation, so supporting the PAC's traffic count program, and also just the Dr. Wu is going to just discuss about currently working on, and we'll focus on just traffic performance measures, and based on the understanding in of the project number 1. So here, the project number 1, the comparative analysis and the integration of region-wide traffic data. And you can find out this in the final report through the website and on the bottom. And so I will just discuss mainly about just the outcomes and the summaries of this project number 1. So first, introduction, and so main questions we have and for this project number 1, and what kind of regional traffic data available, and where are those sources, and how the data interrelated, and as well as just how we can integrate the data, as well as just maintaining the quality of the data. So we split those in the project in 2 phases. The first, the phase 1 is a proof of concept for mainly for like just applying that just a developed model to just region-wide. So that's kind of just the question implementable was discussed in the phase 1, then just we applied. And so that's there are some merits, so we applied in the larger scale implementation in phase 2. First, here's the data sources, and we are really interested in just roughly around the 600 different sensors, as you can see. And other than the town of Sahuarita or just the PCD, Pima County DOT, and the jurisdiction partners used way different kind of just a variety of sensors. And so we realized that that's really a lot and different the combination. So if you are more just interested, and you can find out just the tables here, and there was in the update and as of 2020. And so as you see, and roughly 600 sensors available in the region. So the major kind of just understanding and for those and where are those in the sensors, and also we try to understand some characteristics from our just the major the manufacturers, Econolite, iTrust, and the MyVision, and the Wavetronics. Those technologies, and you see here, and mostly, and the video image processor used, and but the Wavetronics are used in the microwave radar system. And also just the many and the different just the traffic parameters and applied here. And the collection method is a kind of just an important portion. And but some sort of just the outdated and the components and available through just the region. So those are outdated, and some, and the data collection is doable through just independent software. And MyVision is a little different, just using API and just the online interface as well, because of MyVision itself is quite new in the region. And Wavetronics was doable either way, the downloading through just the field or just the API software, and plus just the data storage capability, as it depends. And but relatively just the most of just the Econolite sensors are kind of just outdated, not sure about that. And as I remember, university team actually just called in the manufacturers to get some information about this. And Econolite usually just especially the vision sensor that takes around just 8 to 10 years of data storage. And also iTrust and others, and different in the type of just system they used for data storage. And MyVision is heavily using just their cloud the system, and accessible there is just the API as well. So then just Wavetronics has a different setup, and but it's doable. There is the cloud as well. And the next. So here is the major three in the video-based volume data, and we have in this kind of a test here for our first evaluation. And the Autoscope by Econolite, and the Smart View 360 by MyVision, and the Vantage Next by iTrust. So turning movement count and the time resolution, temporal resolution is the 1 minute to 15 minute interval, and collection is it's different. It's the Autoscope and the lane by lane, and the MyVision, because they're using PCI and the camera, so it's collects just the whole just the movement, and but also allows to vehicle classification, and the Vantage Next, sorry, and use the 15-minute interval, and but also just collects the advises the movement. So total in the just the test in the 27 intersections along 3 corridors for Autoscope, and was kind of just used in the 117 intersections. MyVision data is from just Marana 12 and the PCDOT, and 105 was kind of just evaluated. And the Vantage Next in the town of Marana has the 10, and which was evaluated in the data in the evaluation of process. So first, and want to know about just the Autoscope data assessment, and we used the Autoscope Solo Pro, which was installed at the Speedway Boulevard and the Euclid in the data set is 2017 October 31st at the peak hours, and which was compared with the pack collectors ground truth data. And as you can see on top, the right, just the chart, and to the detector results is shown, and available at the time, just advanced detector, and the other side is the volume count and the stop by detector. As you see in the result, and it shows that distinctively in the results, the volume count and the stop bar detector results is pretty good. And for those in the volume count and stop bar detector, and further in the split in by turn, and as you can see, in the right side, and this is the through movement in the middle right turn, and on the left side, this is the left turn. So as you can see, the accuracy or just accuracy is good for just the through movement, and it shows that 0.95 R square, and the left turn and the right turn followed 0.74 and the 0.67. And here's another is the autoscope data in the solo terror. And unfortunately, just the data actually not just matched well, and but tried to just compare it, and using just a different just period, and hoping to have the same pattern. And but as you see, and for the turn, each turn, and you can see for each the individual just the approach. So it could be kind of just gathered all just different, and the approach and the by turn and doable through just the autoscope solo terror. And there are some kind of just the gaps, and there's just the data comparison. And I'm sorry, here's the My Vision data set, and let me change a little bit more here. So for this, the first assessment, the video-based data and the My Vision, and we considered in the first intersections in the Aina Road, La Cañada, and La Choya, and La Choya Boulevard, and the river, and the root rough. So as you can see, this tau on the right side, and the R square, and this accuracy is not really kind of just the good and not satisfactory. The reason just we try to just to find out, and first we split those in the different direction, different turn, and the through movement shows that quite low, which is not kind of just expected. Then we go further down, then just realize that in the Machoya and the River Road has some kind of just an issue, and the percent RMSE shows they're around 50%. So which is a relatively just a low, and so this is the one of those result in the reason, and to show this kind of a low accuracy rate, and also affected and for other turn, but turning especially through movement was just affected by that just the intersection and from La Choya and the river. So we're gonna just visit again in the further detail and what actually just happened, and through just the validation process for La Choya and river, the My Vision data set. So here's the kind of just a summary in the video-based data, and most of just the intersections, roughly 79% are using video-based sensors, and 70% of the video-based sensors are outdated and also have some limitation to collect and store remote traffic data. Because of this project, we are interested in just gathering just all just available and possible and the data set and covering all regions. So, and those outdated sensors are not just configured with traffic data collection. That's another just the problem. We realized that. But the new and video-based sensors and My Vision is relatively new and configured with the data collection module, plus just the cloud service that provides and the data service through just API, which is quite just convenient. And sample data accuracy is relatively good, but required more just sample data, especially for the My Vision, because of the one intersection shows that some issues, and then which means that we may or may not have those kind of just intersections again. So I'd like to just ask and if you have any question at this moment about just the video-based data.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
When you talk about accuracy, I just want a clarification. You're talking about accuracy in terms of like count information, and you're not really making a reference to how accurate it is in terms of detecting a vehicle for the purposes of, operating the traffic signal. Am I correct?
Yes, this is the final, just the outputs of the compared to the collected data set. And so pack collects and the turning movement count, and there is just the video camera and those and the collected turn movement and by every 15 minutes. So we compared in the side by side, and there's just the my vision and the other sources data, how much close to each other. So those are the statistics, and for each just the point dot shows that just the turning movement and volume and the per 15 minutes for that specific just the date and the time period.
Yep. The answer is yes. It's only volume.
Yeah, I just didn't want to make the mistake of maybe thinking one product is better as a detection system than another, when really what you're referring to is more about how well it performs as a count mechanism.
Yes. And Hyun-Soo, if you don't mind, I'll explain a little bit
Yeah, go
more.
ahead.
So yeah, so this project, the main thing is volume data. So as Dr. No mentioned, so we'll focus on volume data instead of detection. So it's volume data. Yeah, but thank you for this question. Yeah, thank you, Hyun-Soo.
Yeah, so the detection just output and was just that's actually our target and the comparison, and the detection just methodology was not considered, but this could be a kind of just a partial output and through the detection methodology. Okay, then just in case any other questions at this moment. Okay. Then just moving to the next portion, and would you like to just highlight and the difference between video-based data and the max view and or just the event-based data. So because of the event-based data, there's a max view system is one of the main sources, and we applied in the regional traffic volume estimation. So here you can see the figures, and mainly just to differentiate those two in different colors lines. And the blue shows that blue or just is a little bit purplish, and that shows the event-based data collection. And red shows that the video-based data collection. So both data actually collects those in the detection camera. And but as you can see here, for video-based data, and for example, just the virtual loop and detected through camera, but it uses in the independent just the graphic card, and so installed in the cabinet. On the other hand, and those event-based data is also collected through just the camera and the detection system, but it's go directly to the controller. And because of it's usually is the main usually for and the traffic control system. And so this data collected data set, and either going through just the software, and through just directly downloaded and individual and or just any specified system, or just load it up to just the cloud system for event-based data. I'm sorry, it's just a video-based data. And as you know, just the MaxView server will collect those and most of the event-based data. And so that's the we call and the MaxView event-based data. And especially for those MaxView event-based data, and a series of event data is collected by this MaxView system, and the signal for signal control and the performance measures. Among those and the events data, and we are really interested in just to estimate the turning movement count, and the phase events, detection events, and the communication events. So those and the events and data as highlighted here in the 3 phase events and detection events, communication events. So those in the examples shows that the phase events and the phase on, and when the phase begin in the of the green and the red, the detection events, detection on or off or failed. Communication is showing that the percent communication loss and or just the time drift. But unfortunately, just those event-based data and does not have the component in showing the turning movement and the volume and the count collected. So the university team and developed and so nice in the machine learning algorithm and compared and the others just the models and the algorithms. So finally decide to have just the MLP multi-layer perceptron neural network algorithm. And this approach, as you see on the right side, and it has 3 layers. So hidden layers we don't see, but we can prepare input layers and the output layers are or just the term volumes and the left turn, right turn, and the through volumes. Especially for those input layers, and as we discussed, those measure and the inputs and from the Maxwell system, event-based data features, we have occupancy time and the green time, detector triggered count, and the other variables used. And plus just the external variable, and for input layer, we use intersection infrastructure, number of lanes, and left turn just the pocket and is available or not. And also just we use the point of interest features, and which is size of employment and nearby the intersection. This approach and the developed model and applied in this project actually got us just the international and the attention, and as publishing this paper at the Journal of Intelligent Transportation System. And this is a quite new one. And thank you for your effort on this application, university team. And here is the first the evaluation, so which was mainly used for model calibration. So you can see a relatively high and good in the satisfactory results. And but instead of just using RMSE, because of RMSE is the kind of just the deviation in the root mean square error, and showing that it's kind of just affected by just the magnitude of the size of volume. So instead, and I'd like to just explain about the accuracy and using just the percent RMSE, which is kind of a normalized, and to compare and without any just the size the matter. So first in the R-square, and you can see through movement is showing that and the 0.81 and the average, and the left turn is 0.57, and right turn shows 0.27. Right turn is relatively low, and because of the in the Maxwell system, there's no the data set available in the full right turn, and no detection system included in that in the event. And as well as you just see, and the percent RMSE, and the through is I'm sorry, it's under 0.17, and left turn 0.51, and the right turn shows 0.75. In the higher number means actually just the errors are higher, some sort of deviation is high. So which shows that the through movement shows that, and relatively good in the results. So here's the event-based data summary, and one of the best merit in using this the Maxwell data is because of its coverage, and 300 plus intersections are accessible through the system. And this event-based data is collected through just the traffic detection module typically used for in the traffic signal control. And here's a sum and this summary based on the outputs, and we realize that accuracy is through movement is higher, and then followed by left turn and right turn. And the right turn accuracy is low, as I addressed, and because of there's no sensor available. And the one just a caveat, and is the model does not incorporate road construction because of the pack does not collect in any in the data mainly for roadway construction, as well as just untrained patterns because of recently built and new and 6-lane roadway may not be just right in the suburban area and in the urban area. So that there are some just the discrepancy also we'll kind of discuss shortly about in that examples in the later. So I'd like to just open and here another just the time to have any questions. If you have any questions for event-based data summary. Okay, then moving on, and the one of the important just the portion is just how can you say this data is good or not? And yeah, I'm not talking about the methodology and the portion, but so in the region, and what's the kind of best way to show and the accuracy and or just what's the kind of just a resolution acceptable? And so we tried to think about it, and so for that region, just we went over and roughly just the 90 different just the literatures and references. And so 5 of them is highlighted here, and my vision and Peak and On and the Middleton and the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Those are the kind of just the roughly and showing the accuracy level. But unfortunately, this is the case by case, so which is not always correct because of we don't know, and maybe just in our region, and our result might be just a little different. But based on those guides and guidelines, and we try to just have some sort of just acceptance criteria, and which might be just the appropriate and to have and those kind of qualified and or quality control to just the data and in the reason. So here best criteria thresholds, and as you expected, just the autoscope, because of it has just their own in the camera for each approach and of the intersection. So which is accurate and also differentiate those are lane by lane. So, but the it's a kind of just a little bit outdated, and but well expected, and those kind of just a relatively higher, and the accuracy level and the R scale 0.9, for example here, and then for just the in total and the intersection level, and for each turn 0.9, 0.7, 0.6 for through movement and left turn and the right turn, and as a just percent RMSE, you see that, and a little bit of similar patterns, and so through movement is a relatively good, and others as a relatively low. On the other hand, the lowest criteria and thresholds assigned to event-based data because of the machine learning algorithm. Also those in the detection, the limitation. So because of it doesn't collect just a lane by lane or aggregate, and so those are kind of just the issues and incorporated here. Then just we can expect, and R square is around 0.8, and for each turn movement, and a little different. And so percent RMS is shown here as well. And so this might be a kind of just the lowest criteria, and then just my vision and other just a segment volume, just the estimation applied, especially for this segment volume estimation is based on the our collected just estimated in the turning movement count. And so this might be an additional just a factor, and we can review later again. So for the model validation and the my vision, we reviewed, and we selected 3 major intersections, and also collected just a new turning movement count in 2024 season, and the other side, and the model in the turning movement count estimation through just the event-based data we used in the 47 intersections, and which was also collected in just the 2020. And the segment volume estimation validation is also just applied for 10 roadway segments. So here's the first and turning movement count validation, and the video-based sensor, the my vision, the 3 intersections as you see here in the La Cholla, Orange Grove, La Cholla River, and the Craycroft River. So we picked just the La Cholla and the river again, and because of we had some issues and not sure was it corrected or not, and but it shows that kind of just the issue, and we kind of further go down, and so why it happens, and then so then next to here shows that some issues in the which is divided by and those in the turn movement, left turn, right turn, and the through. So for Lachoya range group and aligned perfectly well, and which means they are just good in the estimation, and as well as just other in the turns. And but Lachoya shows the kind of a little bit off and here and there. So not clear about that and why just happened, and but we will talk about that, and maybe just it's related to just a setup or just some additional just the factors and could be considered and to adjust to improve in this research. And we will discuss about that. And the Craycroft and River and shows they're relatively good, but as you see, looking at the right turn, and is kind of just underestimated. So it might be the reason, like just the fisheye camera, maybe far side and just the corner, the turning right, might be kind of just the blocked by others, just the movement easily because of those, and the vehicle image maybe just a very small, tiny. And here's the event based data, the estimation validation, and using MaxV data set as mentioned, and exactly just 47 samples out of 50 sample locations. And those the turning movement counts and the PAC usually collects only for just the peak periods and the AM peak and the PM peak. And but this time we collected just peak as well, just the whole day, and from just 9 a.m. to just 6 p.m. So this is the data set, and I'm sorry, just the full yeah, we collected just this data set, and as I remember, in 6 a.m. to just 8 p.m. and yeah, then just showing that, and here's the locations, and for the validation results, and here we estimated, and the other, and the 5 of them was not kind of as useful at the time, like as the communication issues. And so this is the result, and relatively and good, and 0.85, and but RMS is a little bit high, and 58%, and because of just the intersection, the level estimation might be just a little different. So here is the more detailed, and only for just the peak period, and for each intersection, and you can see some of them is good, and the others is not good, and as you see here is a little bit dispersed, and but on the other hand, this might be a kind of as good, and this as well, and so and this one as well is good, but the other just turn movement is a little different. And so every intersection has a little different kind of just performance, and from the model, and but and relatively just combined all together is okay, but it could be kind of just the range, and the by the percent RMSE, and per intersection we need to be careful, and need to just identify, and intersection level just improvement as well. So here's the another just aggregated, and just the result, and showing that, and this is the third movement shows that 0.29, and the percent RMSE, and which is a little low, and compared to the R square, and because of those, and the factors and the individual intersections show, and the difference is the result. And then followed by then the left and just the right hand, and just the same pattern showing here in the R square, and the high number, and for and the third movement 0.9, and R square shows that 0.3, and for right hand, and 0.57 for left hand. So and which is what we also just added just the MAP, and then shows that, and relatively at around 30%, 28% accuracy, and different, and 64% for right turn, and the errors happened, and around 40% errors happened for left turn. And or as a hoping because of the calibrated model is only targeted for in the peak periods, but we tried to kind of just compare and how much useful to for in the estimating the daytime period as well. So the data collected in the model just calibrated and was used in the two in the this is not just a real validation because the model not calibrated, but we try to just evaluate in how much is just accurate, and if we apply those at the peak time period in the calibrated model to the daytime and the period. So which shows that, and it's compared to the peak period in the outputs, and shows that the relatively just the worst in the outputs, and so especially dispersed, and which means that in the output result is not really kind of just recommended. And segment volume estimation, this is a kind of the generic methodology. And we applied those in the consecutive between movement counts. If those are available, we apply just the weighting and based on the distance. So upstream volume and all together for this segment, and there's a downstream the flow to estimate the volume at this just tube count location and the specified. And we use upstream volume and the downstream volume and weighted by just the distance from upstream volume X and downstream volume Y. So this is a generic and the simple methodology. Well, all those kind of just notations in the math kind of showing the our and the underlying kind of assumption is satisfied. So here's the 10 locations and for the segment volume estimation, and just directly using that and the methodology, and using and based on those consecutive turning movement count to the turning movement counts. So this is the result for each just the segment. And as you see, and is the model, it kind of just estimated a little bit just higher and for low volume, and relatively low for low volume sections, just estimated higher. And then on the other hand, just the higher volume, just the estimate is a little low. But there are some just the good in the result, and then but there are some sort of issued in the segments. So those are all the sections, and especially for in the rural area and the 6-lane roadway facility, compared to the urban area 6-lane roadway capacity roadway facility is different. And but most of it just now in the training data set included those in the urban area and the 3-lane 6-lane roadway facility to estimate those, and relatively just large and the volumes. So here's the validation summary and my vision, and even though just we have an issue in the one just intersection, and the overall, and other than those intersection, and it's reliable and easy to access, and then need to just review again and carefully, and might be related that the intersection might be related to the setup, especially with background image, or just the virtual detector setup might be an issue. And also we realized that the more sample evaluation required for the my vision and the data outputs. The max view and the validation is it's a really good resource because of the coverage, but as a supplemental purpose right now. So because of the accuracy might not be just kind of just the satisfied and at this moment. So, but we are satisfied in terms of using that data source as a supplement and a supplementary. So turn counts and especially right turn shows the low in the accuracy because of, as mentioned, the no detection in the module included in the MaxV system, and the daytime also and need to be reviewed and also calibrated, and because of the some issues. And the segment volume validation, we realized that this is a good and quite dependent on the turning movement count data quality, was quick and easy and the estimation, but need to also improve and because of affected by any construction or POI event, a point of interest. So there are some just the gaps and we identified and related to just a point of interest, like just a school students and drop off and maybe just a detoured a little bit. So those are kind of the issues we need to address. Then as mentioned earlier, those in the that is related to just turning movement count estimation, but overall estimated on just new facilities like just Houghton 6-lane roadway facility and overall estimated because of those in our training data set does not include that in the rural area and the roadway facilities. So which might be in the improved and that there's just differentiating those training data set and having more the rural area and the facilities. So final and regional and as mentioned, the major data sources from event-based data from the MaxIP system, which covers around 354 controllers, and we got in the as a final product in the 200 plus intersections with good quality data. Then my vision, we had in the 122 intersections in the Pima County 109 and the town of Marana 13. So here's the overall process. I'm sorry for the animation. Was not properly used. And but in the overall flow chart in the MaxV data system and the MyVision data system, and for MaxV data system, we added in the data process pre-processing and also using external data, and then applied just to develop the machine learning algorithm to estimate just the 15-minute and the turning movement count, and the MyVision and excluding some just the wrong just outputs and for the intersections, then we apply just the directly and we directly get the data set. There's just API, and after data pre-processing, just we addressed in the 15-minute turning movement counts, but we mostly just directly use and as is from the MyVision database until we have some issues and quite off. And using those two in the 15-minute turning movement count data, and we estimated, as I mentioned earlier, the genetic version of the segment count estimation, and then reported in the segment counts. So this is the one of the examples of or just the regional application, and as shown earlier in the previous in the TSS meeting, and the total 369 turning movement count locations addressed, and the MaxView 263 and the MyVision 106 intersections included in our just final result. And this is the one of the example in the table, and this figure shows that estimated total average turning movement count and for September 2020 peak hours. Using the developed in the segment volume estimation, and the 358 segment locations addressed in the here with the results, and the estimated total average segment volume during peak hours, and then this is the example of the outputs. As you see, upstream volume, downstream volume, then based on the distance upstream and downstream, we estimated the volume. So the conclusion and here first, and we take the MyVision data as is, and to improve our just traffic count program. So we realized that in the MyVision sensors could be used for a continuous turning movement count, and estimated the turning movement count and the segment outputs using those in the MaxV data, and as well as just developed machine learning algorithm is good to use, and as just a supplemental data, and but need some improvement to use and our just count in the data set. And the segment count estimation from the turning movement count output shows that high correlation between and the estimate and the ground truth But as you see, and those are the outputs, so there are some kind of just the issues, and so we need to kind of just improve and a little bit more, and in terms of instead of just applying just a generic version and weighted by distance to upstream and downstream, we may just consider and some POI and plus just additional the factors to estimate better the segment count. And the finally, and this event-based data is it has just the advantages of a high availability and large coverage, and as well as just performance measure development. So good tools, and as it's just a supplemental and usage. And the model calibration is mainly just targeted for just the peak periods. So we have to just improve and as just to calibrate the model, and the using just newly collected just the daytime turning movement counts. And also need to just improve and address earlier low volume and rural area, and the relatively just the large and the facility. And also need to just improve and those generic segment count estimation, as I addressed earlier. And also we need more samples for my vision, and we also need to just double check and some issues and related to just setup of the my vision system. And then the another thing is about we applied just MLP model, multi-perceptron neural network algorithm, but there are some other just machine learning algorithm, but we'd like to just test and different just machine learning algorithms in-house and with the collected data. And we are now just reviewing and some just output, and especially for the my vision data sets, and we plus just improving other portion, but realize that we need to just improve some in the procedure and QA/QC procedure, and so we are now working on it. And here is the portion, and you can find out 2021 my vision turning movement count data and at the PAC MS2 website. And I'm not sure just if you can find out, and but it has just I guess just the ID starting with M, which is actually just the my vision turning movement count data. And also PAC is improving just the QA/QC procedure, and also testing and develop the machine learning algorithm. And this is the portion. I want to kind of just stop here. If you have any questions and about overall and the project number 1 update.
I have a question. I'm sorry. Maybe you mentioned it and I missed it, but if you're getting like continuous information, say from MyoVision or from any of these data sources, do you think that's better than having a spot count piece of data? And how do you just average it over time? Is that what you do?
In terms of just data and the update and the for current and my vision data set is just every 15-minute daily, and we have all just the daily and 15-minute resolution and tongue counts available at the tongue count available at the PAC website MS2. So which is actually just better, and to just keep, because of it shows the trend and those in the I don't know, just the intersection level, but at least just if we just look at only just each legs of the roadway system, which might be just useful to just estimate just the AADT, and because of it shows that and annual kind of just the fluctuation and the differences.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And any other questions?
Hinsu, I mean, just to kind of follow up on Dion's question, having that continuous counts is really valuable, right?
Yes, it's valuable.
Yeah, and so MyoVision does a really strong job of estimating those volumes based on their interpretation of the data. And so what we were looking to do was to kind of replicate that with the MaxView event content. And we've gotten close, but we still feel there's more work to do to get it up to the standard that MyoVision continuous counts are. So so there was a lot of great work was done in evaluating those just events from that MaxView system. But the MyoVision continuous counts are we feel we're pretty good about. And that's why we've pushed them over to MS2. So they're also available there. So let's get into project 2. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Josh. And any questions about the MyoVision count data? And please just ask James Tokishi, and he's taking care of this data set. And here's a project 2, and I will hand over this presentation to Dr. Wu. Would you take it over?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. No. So I don't know if I can control the slides.
Yeah, maybe just to Crystal, and if you are still there.
Yeah, it's okay. You can do the next slide.
Yeah, okay.
But let me start with this. Oh, yeah, I can do it. Okay, great. Hello, everyone. So like to thank Dr. No for giving a really good intro to introduction to the first project. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the agencies who got involved with the project 1. Without your support, it wouldn't be finished and successfully. So project 2, as Dr. No emphasized earlier, it was actually focused on the volume data. But as you guys can read this title quickly, you can see it's a performance evaluation. So it's also using multi-source data. Well, so in project 2, we try to bring this project to the next level of project 1. So performance measurement and then more data. So that's 2 keywords, performance measurement and more data. So I click on the next one. Let me see. I'll click this one. Great. So this is the new project has been a while. So you can see a timeline. We started the project in December. Oops, I don't know what changed. Can I move back? Okay, let's keep it on this side. So this is a 17-month project. The team is the same. Dr. Lee is a main researcher, co-PI of the project, and Pepe, also spend a lot of time on this project. So let's go over the project, the tasks using this slide, so everyone can have their bigger picture of how we're gonna try to accomplish. I'm gonna explain a little more in each for each task. So you can see the project already kick off, and we actually already done some literature review about the data integration, and how can we process the newer sets of data. The newer sets of data, as you guys can see, the task 3, third-party pro vehicle data exploration. So task 3, as you guys probably heard about Weijo data. So it's a quite new set of data, and the data is basically collecting the trajectories of the traffic data. So the sample size is pretty good. So the CAG purchased a region-wide data. The data is quite a lot. When I say a lot, is that every time when we need data, I thought Dr. No could send email the data to us. No, it's not like that. It actually, Dr. No had to bring the hard drive to U of A, so we can process the data, because if we send the data to online, it will be too big, will take a long time. So text 3, we explored the third-party pro vehicle data, and the text 4, we started trying to do see if what kind of other information we can extract from this type of new data set. So this data set is quite exciting. So we can see the mobility, variety, performance measures, from this data set. and we'll also see if this evaluation, these performance measures are actually useful for the region. So when we move, when we are going to, I'm not, sorry, I don't know why it's moved to the next slide. So when we are moving forward with the MaxView data, and I was so excited, our region gonna integrate a MaxView system in the cloud. So we want to see if other measures can be retrieved from the MaxView and Malvision data. So similar to project number 1, sorry, it keeps switching the slides. So similar to the project number 1, we also need to develop the acceptance criteria because we don't know if the measures are trustful. So, so this project we will be doing, we'll be developing the acceptance criteria for all the measures we will be developing in this project. So also similar to project 1, we also want to make sure whatever we develop in this project can be implemented region-wide. So that's in the text 8. So for documentation, hopefully next year we will be able to do the same thing. We're gonna present this to the committee, and also everything will be written in a final report. So that's an overview of the project. So if we move to the next slide, so you can see the purpose of the project. We're gonna do the, it's advanced level of project 1. So we actually have more data, and also want to do the performance measurement. So this is a task we just mentioned. So on the following slides are the individual tasks. So this is a task 2, this review. So you can see how much we're gonna do with each project. Oops, sorry. Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Can you resume the slide, please? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, this is a text 2 we're gonna do in more detail. Text 3, as I mentioned, the data we're gonna use is radio. So, and then text 4 is we're gonna develop more performance measures, and then you can see the mobility and reliability data. So
Just Dr. Wu, just in case, if I can explain a little bit of the purpose.
Sure.
Yeah, so the main kind of just the concept of this in the project number 2 is just I think just you heard about just the TSMO and or just performance measurement and the planning effort, and so we are now kind of just in the middle. So this project, and we'd like to just understand how much we are ready for that kind of just moving toward in the TSMO in the environment. And the TSMO is actually for your stuff and maintaining all this data and operating and kind of just the real time and receiving all the connected vehicle data informations and the process and handing back to just to the vehicles and communicating. So, but then we'd like to kind of just understand how much the data is available and what kind of just the performance measures would be beneficial to that kind of just the movement. So this is most of just the scope of work is covered for that kind of just the underlying and just our purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Dr. No, that's really helpful. So let's go to the text files. Again, it's more detail about test files. We want to evaluate upon measures we develop for the region. So these are some descriptions. So you can see the first half of the project, we focus a lot on the third-party data. The data is quite exciting, and I cannot wait until when we finish this part. It will be a lot of really interesting results can share with the region. So next slide. Okay, so this is as I mentioned, the mobility and relative performance measures for MaxView and Malvision. As Dr. No mentioned, the project 1, we actually got a lot of data from MaxView and Malvision. So we wanted to make sure we can actually develop more performance measures. And also you can see the wager data also included in this analysis. So the Tech 7, as I mentioned, is similar to the project 1. We did we're gonna be doing the acceptance criteria development, make sure the result is reliable. And the last one will be the region-wide application. Yeah. So this project we're not separating phase 1, phase 2. It's the same project. We're gonna do more tasks. And number 9, documentation, summarize everything. Hopefully you can do the same presentation next year to everyone. I think that's all. Thank you for everyone for your attention. So do you have any questions for this project?
Oh, I wonder, and if you ever heard about just the visual data before? Maybe not. And the visual data is the, like you can simply imagine like just the high resolution and every 3-second and the GPS point data. And one of the largest vendors in the processing and the connected vehicle data. So they are pure sources from the car manufacturers, and those data actually processed, and those provides and the other and the company, for example, Inix and the streetlight data and the plus others. And so those data set is kind of just important. And so through this project and hoping to just figure out and the accuracy of the performance measures if we developed and using the MaxView system or just the My Vision, and just evaluate how much is accurate, if not just how we can kind of just recover and the missing portions, and as well as just the visual data itself is a kind of just a large data set, as the Dr. Wu mentioned, and it's kind of a 4-month data, usually be a kind of a terabyte. So, and that's actually just a really good data set and reach. But in terms of just evaluating and those visual data, we'd like to just have some understanding how much is just covering in the roughly 5% and the 10% compared to our just the count data and from just the MaxView or just My Vision. Then there might be a kind of just a different, and then just those developed measures, how much is just useful, and as also just covering in those in the other just the count data and developed in through the project number 1. So those are kind of just a mixed and in terms of just developing its performance measures, as well as just as I mentioned, and maybe we need to have just a minute by minute just a resolution, maybe down the road. And those in the implementation, maybe we can start the 15-minute resolution first, and then maybe we can assess and how we can just improve and like just the feedback and to operate and together with the signal timing or such like that. So there might be a kind of just an important portion in through this project. So hoping to and benefit to just our jurisdiction partners and agencies. Okay, then just in case, and any other questions or about just the project number 2 or just project number 1, if you have any.
And Hinsu and yeah, they're in case anybody has any questions following this, they come up with later, they can reach out to you guys directly, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I think just we don't have any further questions, and feel free to ask us and either through Dr. Wu or just me, and for any questions or if you need and some important portion and in terms of just the having this project, and so then please let us know anytime.
Good deal. And Sue, yeah, thank you guys very, very much. Appreciate the in-depth of the overview and especially the detail covered on that stuff. Super interesting and super helpful. So appreciate the work you guys are doing on this stuff. Crystal, I think that brings us to our last item, if I remember. Yeah, according to the agenda. I'll ask one last, any question on any of the topics we've covered. Anybody have anything else? I know we got a couple new members. I've captured them. Anything that any of the late members came back we want to touch base on from the items we've covered before? Any closing items, Josh, Gabe, on any of the stuff we covered?
No, nothing to add.
You're good? Okay, Gabe, you good as well? All righty.
I bet Gabe is great.
I was going to say, I'm going to take
my
silence.
silence.
As
Yeah, my
golden.
silence speaks volumes. I'm so good.
I was going to say, man of many words. So, okay, gang, thank you all very much. The next meeting, we're going to kind of, as Josh and I get underway with reaching out to you on the safety effort, we're going to kind of see how that all comes together and if we can hold the pace that he and I have developed. But we'll set the follow-up meeting once we've made suitable progress on that. So probably, I hesitate to even guess whether it'll be a couple months down the line, a little further, but I'll keep you guys posted as we go along, give you ample notice on it. Likely we'll stay on the same cycle of the Thursday, probably get back to the morning routine from 9 to 11 on that. But we'll keep you guys posted on how that'll shake out. Okay. With that, gang, we're adjourned. It's always good seeing everybody. Be well, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good one. Thanks
Thanks,
again, as
everyone.
always.
Take care.